Welcome to Topic Talks, where we talk about the topics you care about and leave out the ones you don't.
We talk about what most news sources don't: media, movies, and the multiverse.
We even invite guests to come talk topics with us.
Come join in on the fun.
Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Giant Conversation of This Topic Talks. I'm your host, Aaron Klingingsmith, and joining me again today, and I actually remember his name today, is Gordon. So it is awesome to have you again, Gordon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. So it's I'm trying to think. It's the whole week's thrown me off. I'm just gonna start with the first story, and we'll go from there. This one kind of blows my mind. It's about a man who has pretty much with all the hurricanes going on and everything, there was a lot of shortages of everything. So there was a shortage of water. I mean, a friend of mine who lives in Florida posted a picture of Walmart and the section where all the cases of water is, and it was empty, completely gone. There was nothing left in the aisle.
Wow.
And he said, "Man, got water?" So there were a lot of shortages of everything in the wake of the hurricanes, as they were coming in and things like that. Well, one thing that people started to go for, or something else that they started to go for, was generators.
Mm-hmm.
They went for generators to power their houses and certain things. Like, I know my grandma, when she gets out of power, we use her generator to do the fridge, because she has two refrigerators. She's got one upstairs and then one downstairs. So we run an extension cord from one fridge, and we actually do it. We run one from each fridge, and we can only plug one in at a time. So we'll plug one in for a few hours, and then unplug that and plug the other one in.
Oh, wow.
And the one downstairs, because if you keep it closed,
Mm-hmm.
it'll keep the coolness longer. So because it keeps that coolness longer, or it stays cold longer, if we don't get into the one downstairs, it'll stay cold longer than the one upstairs, because we're getting in it for drinks and I can't do what I usually do, where I open up the fridge and try to see what I want to eat.
Yeah.
I got to try to figure out what I want to eat before I open the fridge.
Oh.
If not, I got to make sure it's with the generator running, because once we close it, we want to try to keep it closed as much as possible, so the cold doesn't get out, and so that way, everything in our fridge, nothing spoils. And I mean, my grandma and I have gone that way for about a week. A while back when we had that horrible ice storm.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's pretty bad.
That was actually April and I went on our first date, and we came out of the movie theater and it was all ice.
Oh.
So that was our first date, was when around Christmas time,
Mm-hmm.
when I was out of power. My aunt was in town, and it was kind of funny because my aunt came to our house knowing we didn't have any power.
Oh wow.
Her daughter was staying somewhere that had power, and she's like, "Are you sure you want to stay here?" She's like, "Yeah, it's like camping."
Oh.
Because we had like camping lanterns hanging all around the
Oh,
house and candles,
That's
and
cool.
my grandma has this gas fireplace,
Mm-hmm.
and just our power was out, not the gas. So what we did is the way my grandma's house is set up is you've got kind of, when you walk in the actual front door, you've got kind of like a vestibule or like a foyer area, which is now my grandma's computer room, and then you've got a hallway that goes down to all the bedrooms, and then you've got another little living room. Well, the main room that we sit in, the main living room we sit in, is behind a set of double doors that is usually always open. So you can close those off.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got that main room, and then it's got a door wall and a fireplace, or that gas fireplace in there. And then there's a like those sliding collapsible doors, they kind of fold up into them. They like kind of zigzag and like push together.
Yeah.
So she has one of those going to the kitchen, and that has the kitchen, the door to the garage, the door to the basement, a bathroom down there, and the washer and dryer and all that. So she can literally shut off that main room that we usually stay in,
Mm-hmm.
and she just cranks the fireplace. So when we're all in there, we're nice and warm. And then we all had either a fur blanket on our bed or a down comforter. And I had a down comforter, so when I first got in there, it was kind of cold. But other than that, it was, once I got in bed and it warmed up a little bit, I was perfectly fine throughout the night. And then I'd get up and scurry back to that middle room where I could be warm again, because this was in the middle of winter. So we're lucky enough to have that. And then we use the generator, like I said, for our refrigerators. So, and it was like camping, it really was, except I plugged the Wi-Fi router in, because I was talking to April, so I plugged the Wi-Fi router into the generator because it didn't take up that much extra power.
Yeah.
So anyway, so a lot of people are trying to get generators, and there was a line at Lowe's, and there was this lady. Her name is Pam, and she had driven more than 30 miles from home to try to get a generator, and because she had heard that Lowe's had received a shipment of them. Well, it says surprise shipment, so they obviously didn't know that they were coming. And she needed one for her father because he is on oxygen. And I don't know if you know anybody that's on oxygen, but my grandma was for a short time before she got a heart valve replaced. And there, a lot of time you see them walking around with portable tanks. Well, that's not when they're at home. That's just when they're out. When they're at home, they have this machine that actually generates oxygen and sends it through oxygen tubes to whoever it is. And my grandma it was kind of cool because she had long enough. It wasn't cool that she was on oxygen, but the tube was long enough that they could put it kind of in the. I think they put it in the living room during the day, and she could go all the way out to that one bathroom. So she could be in the kitchen, she could be, in that one living room and everything. And then at night they would just kind of roll it over to the hallway, and it would be in the middle of the hallway, and she could just run the cord to her bedroom. So they have a lot of cords. Well, they need power. So her father's on oxygen, and I would assume he's on one of those machines where it needs power. And she wasn't able to, or she was trying to get power to him because they were going to be out of power soon. And within 2 hours, those generators were gone. And the last person to receive one, his name was Ramon Santiago, and he was the man directly in front of Pam. And he turned around and saw that she was crying, and he turned to her and insisted that she take the generator that he had just received because she needed it more. So that was the first part of the story. And I really liked that. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
Just in the fact that he's like, hey, take this. You need it way more than I do. I can get another one. And so that's the first part of the story. Well, the second part of the story is, actually, I watched the video. So there was a news reporter there that happened to catch that exchange on her phone, and she posted it to social media. Mm-hmm. And everybody wanted them to do something, wanted to donate him a generator or whatever. And the store manager of that Lowe's, her name's Melissa Rodriguez, found out what had happened. And when a new generator had become available, she immediately thought of Santiago and got him to return to Lowe's and gave him a generator for free. He didn't even have to buy it. They gave it to him for free.
Wow.
Just because he was so nice in the midst of this problem. And the store manager did say, I wanted to make sure he received it because he definitely deserves it. And that was from the store manager, Melissa Rodriguez. And she also said he is the hero of the day. So, just reading this, I thought this one screamed a Topic Talk story, but two just screamed, that this guy is a very good guy.
Mm-hmm. That's an awesome story.
I think so.
That's a very selfless act, and I think that was awesome that a reporter was there in time to record that and to get that out on social media, because I think the more positive that's out there, the better.
Right. And that's completely true. Like I said, and she was just in there buying batteries. Oh. It wasn't even like she was there as a reporter. She was just there buying some batteries, and she saw kind of what was going on. She flipped her phone open, recorded it, and because she has such a big I would say she has a big impact on the community being a reporter.
Oh, yeah.
She posted social media. Her giant following resulted in this. A lot of people commenting on it, which caused them to do something. By the way, I do have my dog, Charlie, in the studio, and he just found a squeaky ball, apparently. Which I was hoping I'd gotten rid of all of them. So, yeah, but this is just a great story. Mm-hmm. Dude.
Good old Charlie.
That's mine. Okay. Go play with your bone. So now he and just the look on his face. Now, when you watch the video, it does say that he can't find like it does say that, or you kind of get the assumption that he can't speak English.
Yeah.
He can understand it, he just can't speak it, or if he can, not very well. So the reporter is translating for him, but it's still a good video. The comment or the link is in the description below, on our Topic Talks, in the description below. And I will also try to post it on our Topic Talks Facebook page. So, what do you think about this?
I think this is, absolutely amazing, and I think if there was a lot of people doing this during the storm, because there is a lot, I think they're all in need.
Right.
But sometimes just, a selfless act. This guy doesn't even speak English, but he can, he can still have a huge impact and inspire others to do good. Because, obviously seeing this, you're like, man, I want to go out there and do something like this. And if you, we're talking about this, we're hearing about this. Just think of how many people heard this amazing story, and hopefully that inspired them to do something great. And,
Right.
it all just starts with one act of kindness that could lead on to so many others. And you might not even have to do a pay it forward. You could just, give somebody something like a generator if they're in need of it more than you.
Right. Well, and that's why I'm such a big fan of this thing my church is doing, which is random acts of kindness cards. So they're cards, and they say random act of kindness cards. Present this to anonymously to someone you've helped out or given a random act of kindness to, and then on the back, of course, it has their church name and address and all that. But the whole point of it, when we came up with that idea, was to and this is my biggest example, and a lot of you have heard this before, but if you're going through a drive-thru, so say you're going through Starbucks, and you're like, I got a little bit of extra money, I'm gonna pay for the person behind me.
Yeah.
Well, and then they'll pull up, and then they'll say, well, they paid for yours, and it's actually been part of a chain where somebody's done that, then the next person did it, then the next person did it, then the next person did it, because people already have their money out. Most of the time, they already have their money out, and they're already ready to pay.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually, that happened to me. I was part of something like that. I went to Starbucks, and I think I was going like at lunch or something. And when I went through it, basically what happened was I was just jamming out to my music, and I was busting a move in my car. I was having a good time. And
Like we all do.
Yeah. So the lady in front of me, I guess, saw this. So when I pulled up to the window, they're like, "Oh, you already paid for." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I have this money. Like, you can put it towards the next person behind me." And they're like, "Okay." So they took it. But that was really kind of her to do. Just seeing that I was having a good day and that she wanted to make it better was it blew my mind. Still don't know who that lady is, but I definitely want to say thank you one of these days if I ever find out.
Well, and that's the whole point is, I think at least with the random act of kindness cards, the fact that it has our church name on it, it would be, so say you're like, well, put this money towards the person behind me, and then give them this card. Mm-hmm. And then they would give them that card, and they'd be like, oh, they're from Kirkrie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it could be like, oh, they're free. That's must be a really good place. I should check it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just keeps our name in their mind, but it's just the concept itself of like, hey, pay it forward. This is a random act of kindness, because it says right on it, this is a random act of kindness card. You've just been, handed a random act of kindness, and you should pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and there's a song that I really like. It's a country song, and it's called "The Chain of Love." And the whole concept of the song, and I've played it on the show in earlier episodes, but essentially what the song is about is, it describes a girl that's on the side of the road with obviously a flat tire. She's obviously not from that part of town, and a guy in an old beat-up she's driving some fancy sports car, and a guy in an old beat-up pickup truck stops and, helps her out with the tire, and she tries to give him money. He said no, I don't want money. He's just, pretty much he, like, the whole concept of the song is the verse is, don't let the chain of love end with you. So then she goes to a diner. It doesn't say whether it's the same day or not, but it says later she's at a diner, and there's a waitress there who's